Do you happen to suffer from a severe lack of skill? Been diagnosed with a skill issue, perhaps? Well, you are in luck, for I happen to be a perfectly mediocre Zenless on Zero player, who can with minimal difficulty clear all endgame this game has to offer. Well, usually at least. My perfect record. Ruined. Okay, but anyway, that's enough about me. So without further ado, let's lock the fuck in, samurai, and talk some CCC endgame now, shall we? So, to preface, among all gacha games that have ever gachat their games, I guess, CCC happens to be quite unique among them, in the sense that it's one of the least gacha-feeling gacha games out there. Well, until you open the MTX store. Then Genshin is still king. So clean. Knock on wood. But that aside, what makes CCC unique is just how much skill matters in the endgame. Not to say that good builds, shilling mechanics or endgame buffs don't matter, because they very much do, and something that I'm fully aware of. A bit too aware of. But at the same time, the sheer discrepancy in scores I've seen between people with fairly similar builds, all things considered, are quite something to say the least. And then there's also, the upcoming new game mode, which is literally only skill based. In the sense that everyone, no matter how much of a whale they might be, end up getting these same tools to work with. And that is something that I'm 100% down with, because then my clear streak won't end up looking like this horrendous mess. Yes, I am still annoyed by not managing to get a collective 100k score for that Shui reset, but I digress. So first, let's cover character and team building. Short answer, do your DPS character have the attack or rupture roll? If the answer is yes, use them with Dialyn. But I don't have a Dialyn. Then go get yourself a Dialyn. Are we clear? Good. Okay, but as for anomaly teams on the other hand, I'm not even gonna sugarcoat these. Use them with Yusua and either Nangongi or Velina, even if they don't really synergize all that well with one of those latter two units. Yeah, they're still probably gonna be the best alternatives as of now, because of power creep. Yay! Now fortunately for the other two DPS roles, their third slot does actually have real alternatives. No wait, actually that's a lie, my bad, let me rephrase that. If your DPS is specifically of the attack specialty, they have the wonderful opportunity to choose between, drumroll please, yes, exactly, between two characters, two whole characters, Suna and Astra. I know, such a vast selection of choices. But hey, at least it's not the rupture specialty, for they are stuck with Lucia, and only Lucia. Sure, the panda exists, but yeah, it's the panda. Okay, I'm gonna give it to the panda is actually quite decent, but they aren't my girl Lucia, so yeah, just because of that, they aren't worth using over the goat herself. Quite literally, the goat in this case. Now obviously I am exaggerating a teeny tiny bit here. There are other characters that do function in the stead of the aforementioned ones, like Sisyphus and that seems to be about it. Okay, so never mind then. But don't let that dissuade you too much, because it's, as I said prior, CCC is one of those few gacha games where skill actually matters a lot. Meaning that even if you lack many of these meta-defining units, you can still get good scores in endgame. Will it require a lot more effort? Oh, definitely. But is it doable? Yeah, should be, most of the time. At least to guarantee yourself the prima gems that can be obtained in the endgame. More than that I wouldn't bet too much on, though it should still technically be possible, depending on the shilling. Now when it comes to building your units, I'm too lazy to cover this in detail, but for most characters, getting a good enough build should suffice. Aiming for as good of a build as possible is most definitely recommended, but bar a few examples, like Hugo. Now, I'm not sure why anyone would torture themselves by playing that accursed unit. No hate to Hugo or anything, I'm a Hugo owner myself, which is exactly why I know how it feels to play him. It isn't a fun experience. And that's with me having 100% crit rate on the bastard as well. So I dread to imagine how those with less than that are holding up at the moment. Hoyo, please buff my boy. He needs it. Like desperately. Jesus Christ, man. He's not in a good position. But yeah, anyway, as a general rule, try to aim for a build that has around the same stats as what can be found on said character's Pridwin page. Now, just remember, whatever you do, avoid looking at their CCC tier list. Believe me, you will regret looking upon that accursed thing. It will damage your retina beyond repair. So, again, I repeat, whatever you do, do not look upon that accursed thing. Are we clear on that? Good. But that massive disclaimer aside, their character build guides tend to be generally accurate. So that's something at least, I guess. But yeah, anything beyond that is a no-no. And if you want to min-max your build even more, go to said character's subreddit. Yes, I know, Reddit is, well, Reddit. But yeah, it's sadly a sacrifice needed to be made if you want to achieve those heights of having a min-maxed build. And as far as gameplay maxing goes, the best place to start is by checking out Lino, I think that's how you pronounce it, on YouTube. Dude is genuinely a great resource for anyone who wishes to improve at the game. Also, literally just watching people with a skill issue when it comes to having a skill issue at CCC is a great way of improving. Then of course, trying to apply the things you saw into your own gameplay. Just whatever you do, don't do it with my gameplay. It's not worth it. Trust me. Sure, I wouldn't consider my gameplay to be bad by any means. I'm just saying that there are better places to spend your limited time, which can be allocated to improving at an anime gacha game. And as for the actual endgame modes themselves, on paper they might come off as being quite similar, but in practice they end up being quite different. Shi defense is designed in a way where you're supposed to optimize DPS in a way that would allow you to bust as massive of a load as possible, as quickly as possible. While Deadly Assault is more in line with taking your time and planning how to best spend your resources over the entire fight. In other words, Shi defense is basically the CCC equivalent of doing the deed with your partner in a fairly public place without getting caught, quickly. Whilst Deadly Assault is more along the lines of having a long pleasure session with your partner in a private area, where having the ability to consistently pleasure under a long period of time takes priority. Okay, but with that analogy, I guess, out of the way, it's probably best I start wrapping up this video. Or that's what I would have said, if not for the fact that this video got severely delayed. Because I ran into some issues. Yeah. And because of that, this video, which was supposed to be released before 3.0, did, as you can probably tell, not in fact released before 3.0. But that also means that we now also have a third endgame mode that we need to talk about. Fortunately, this one is pretty straightforward. It's a skill issue check. That's it. As mentioned before, this game mode allows only trial units, which means that no matter how much of a poor, lacking in mindscapes that you might be, the playing field is even, between F2P, F2P+, Dolphin, Whales and Leviathan players alike, which can both be great and terrible news. Great news because it means that, yes, you can clear it. Yay. Though it also means that if you can't, yeah, sorry bro. No easy way out this time. You just gotta raw dog that shit until it finally works. But yeah, that should actually be everything. I hope. For all I know, yet another unforeseen, unfortunate incident might be slowly creeping up upon me and my poor PC. Or it could be a, gas leak, explosion or something, which would also not be ideal. For more reasons than just this video getting delayed yet again. But anyway, I hope I managed to prepare you enough to take your first steps into potentially becoming a certified epic Zenless on Zero gamer. Someone who can get all the has, as the kids say nowadays. Because that's something that will definitely make women sexually attracted to you. But yeah, that's all for this video. Please leave a like, maybe even subscribe. And if you're feeling a bit extra daring, maybe click the video on the screen right now. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you return for the next time I cook up some slop. That's all for me. Bye bye.